Hey, welcome, hello, here we are. It is the 21st of April, 2021, 21/4/21. Here we are, it's Chat with Matt. Welcome. Hopefully I'm in the right group, ManTarA, what do we call this group? The Bright Light Beings group. And I'm here for half an hour. I believe there's some questions, if I remember it correctly, from last night. I'm just just in a bit of a state trying to navigate Facebook right now on my little laptop here. Bright Light Beings. And I will find, yep, there's me. That's good. And here's where I ask for any questions. Awesome. So it seems that we're talking about pets today and the healing that pets can provide and whether we can mitigate that somehow. Because, hey Jane, yeah, apologies for not being here last week. I was on retreat, so we've missed a week of Chat with Matts, but stiff shit. I got a life to live as well. Yeah, no, we were sort of busy. We were busy on retreat down in the Abel Tasman, which went very, very well. Thank you very much. Hey, Sister Michelle. So anyway, the question here, I'll read the question. That's always a good way to start, isn't it? Let's hit see more before I start reading. Hello, Matt. May I please ask, can our pets do clearing and transmuting for us? And if yes, what can we do to help them so they don't get really unwell? My dog seems to have got unwell 3 times in the past 18 months, and in that time I have released so much. Thank you for the opportunity to ask. So this, believe it or not, is quite a common question that I get. Firstly, of course, well, maybe not of course, but yes, in our estimation, our pets do an incredible amount of clearing for us and other members of the family. The souls of pets are generally souls that are developing on their path and they are choosing to come closer to humanity without actually jumping full on into it. Many of them are very altruistic. Not all pets are healers, by the way, but many are. Especially those ones that are attracted to, or you are attracted to as a being of light. Many of us at this time as beings of light on this planet, souls who are very much aligned with the light, recognize that we have a shit ton of energy to clear, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of the past needs to be cleared right now for us to move through into being much more effective in our purpose work as a being of light. And the purpose is, not chiseled in stone that you are to set up some mission and do this and that and all the rest of it, but it's basically to be the light here on the planet in an influential way. That's basically it, for you to express yourself as a being of light authentically, transparently and visibly. That's your big purpose, right? And to do that, happily and joyfully, which is basically what the light is. It's happiness and joy. So that's your role, really, to hook into that and to allow it to flow out. The issue that many of us have is we've been beaten up so many times in the past lifetime, and maybe earlier in this lifetime, that we're carrying a lot of trauma. We've been persecuted. We've been tortured, many of us, for our beliefs or for our very inherent nature as a being of light, going up against, a dark authoritarian shadow masculine regime, right? Authoritarian power. So, we've got some history that needs to be cleared, and many of us are undertaking that. And there are souls who choose to come in and help us do that. And many of them come in the form of pets, dogs, cats, rabbits, horses, particularly, maybe others, but ferrets, things like that. Most of the real healer animals are mammalian. Just trying to work out whether yes, a lot of the bigger parrots and stuff too. Definitely, I've had experience of that. First hand and second hand. So anyway, So yes, so our pets are here to help us. It is their soul's purpose to do so. So first and foremost, we don't want to, or we shouldn't be, it's not for the highest and best good of all for us to try and stop that process from happening. Many of us, as compassionate beings, the last thing, and of having our self-worth eroded through multiple persecution experiences, the last thing we want to do is think that some other being is suffering to help us, right? That's incredibly hard for most of us heart-based beings to cope with. So the point is to remember that the soul of the animal is not suffering in doing its purpose any less than you as a soul are suffering as you go through your process of purification. There is, of course, multiple levels of suffering on the personality level, both for us humans and for animals. We see this time and time again. It is part of the journey, and it doesn't need to be great suffering. It doesn't need to be great suffering. And while it's while it's very difficult to cope with that, witnessing something else in pain, it's quite often a lot harder for us to cope with witnessing something in pain than being in pain ourselves. Although many of us, have strong desires to get out of pain, whether that pain be physical, mental, or emotional. So I'm just wondering if I am actually getting. Well, no, I got one comment in. Please feel free if you want to add to this discussion to add to it. Just checking up there. So the question comes down to, well, maybe I'll keep rabbiting for a moment where I'm going. So the question comes down to, how can we help these animals that are choosing to do their purpose work in assisting us in our healing journey? Because the question isn't really, how do we stop them getting sick? Because unfortunately, that's just the mechanism that they're using. Part of how we're going to help them progress through that process is through acceptance. I don't know why Facebook somehow tries to entice people to join to come on. But anyway, I'm sure it'll all sort itself out. So acceptance of the process and not feeling bad and allowing ourselves to feel more grateful rather than resentful for the process, right? Because imagine if you are the soul of that animal and you are choosing to run energy through your body to help another soul grow because it feels joyful for you to do it. And that other soul just feels bad that you are suffering and wants it to stop, right? Because it doesn't understand. It sees the personality suffering and doesn't understand the bigger picture. So a big way of helping our animals through this process is to be grateful and accepting of the process that is unfolding, right? It's not selfish to accept the help, right? It's not a bad thing to do to accept the help of another soul that is choosing to help you clear a bunch of your stuff so that you can more effectively shine the light out. That animal has come on to work its purpose as an advocate for the light in helping you shine your light. So be grateful for that process and don't allow yourself to descend into guilt. Don't allow yourself to descend into shame, and don't allow yourself to make it wrong that your pet is in forms of discomfort or discordance or some sort of what we would call pain, right? Or whatever. We have to be willing to look beyond the surface here. Now, compassion is always a very, very beneficial vibration to embrace. So we can be very compassionate for an animal or for anything that is in pain without making it wrong that they're in pain. So we drop the judgment, we drop the guilt, we drop the shame, we drop all the lower vibrations, and we allow ourselves to become very heart-spaced, expansive, compassionate, loving, and appreciative of the process. So, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it is part of our healing to allow ourselves to receive this healing from the animals in our lives. And now, so the next part, after not making the process wrong, not contracting around the experience, not feeling guilty or ashamed that it's happening, is how do we effectively help them be more comfortable and maintain their health as best that we can as they do what they feel is purposeful, right? Not making themselves wrong for a level of surface-based sacrifice. We all make surface-based sacrifice. I quite often say there should be no sacrifice in our service, right? But we have to always look at what level we're sacrificing, because ultimately there will always be sacrifice in any service that we do. We will sacrifice our lower desires. We will sacrifice levels of discordance, right, that wants to avoid all pain. We have to be willing to sacrifice the desire to avoid all pain, whether it be our pain or someone else's pain. We can't let that be our prime mode of operation, right? Avoiding pain, because it's just not possible, right? Because this vibration that we're carrying is dense and it will feel uncomfortable. Whether you label it as pain or not is the point, right? We get into semantics here of whether we're choosing to believe something is painful or whether we choose to believe it's uncomfortable, or whether we choose to believe it just is what it is, a sensation that might be intense and of a vibration that doesn't appear to be happy and joyful, but yet at the same time it is always possible to be happy and joyful. Look at the pets, for example. You know, our pets still embrace joy and happiness. Our pets can be very, very content while still experiencing discordance up to quite a high level. They will still wag their tail. They will still light up when they see us, even though we in some way are the source of their discordance, because they're choosing to, run energy for us, and yet at the same time they are overjoyed generally to be in our presence very, very often, because they are a lot simpler. They are a lot simpler, and they don't generally allow their discomfort to overly dictate who they be as a being. They're much more, animals in many ways are much more spiritual than humans, because their intellect is not so much in the way. They're not so busy trying to be right, and they're much more natural. And basically being natural is what spirituality is all about. That's why I keep telling people, just relax into your heart and do what you feel. That's what dogs do. That's what animals do. They don't give a damn about what they're supposed to do. Well, some dogs have been very much trained and do enjoy the reward nature, the satisfaction of doing the right thing and getting the owner to say, good boy. Cats, on the other hand, who in some ways are even more proficient at healers, are so very natural. They're not at all interested in doing the right thing. They are much more interested in doing what feels natural for them. And in doing so, we love them. People love cats because cats don't give a damn about doing the right thing. Cats are so confident in themselves that people can't help but be drawn to that, right? Because we know deep inside of us that's what we want too, and yet we have trouble accessing it because it's been trained out of us through our society that we're supposed to be good, right, and proper in order to earn our success, which will then provide us with happiness, right? Which is a big fat lie and doesn't work, but it's still a very, very entrenched indoctrination here on the planet, right? We start from the get-go being trained by our parents to do the right thing. We go to school to get trained some more about what doing the right thing looks like. We jump through all of these friggin' hoops throughout our life to win success and thus the carrot of happiness that's on the other side of our success, only to get towards middle age or old age or even death before we realize that Happiness is not in our success. It's not in achieving what society is telling us we need to achieve. Happiness is a choice that we have available to us, and it's very, very natural when we relax into ourselves. So animals can show us, really show us that and really model that for us and inspire us into that. And a lot of times they're doing a lot of healing for us as well around what the issues that we're carrying. So in terms of caring for them in the best way, right, what homeopaths we should give them, what veterinarian care we should give them, what diet we should give them, ultimately the more loving that we can be in our life, the better off they're going to be. Whether or not they get sick or not, in clearing some energy is by the love. It is what it is. I know we all want everything to live a long, healthy life, but ultimately it's more important for that being as a soul to live a purposeful life. That doesn't necessarily mean that we can't help them. And as I said before, I think some of the best ways we can help them is to choose in ourselves to be happy and appreciative and high vibrationary. Now that, and I don't want to induce more guilt by thinking, oh, my dog's suffering and sick, therefore I'm not doing a good job of being a happy person. That's not going to help, right? Beating yourself up for feeling beat up is not going to help. So we must be willing to appreciate their service, because ultimately that is most satisfying for them as a being, right? And from a compassionate space, allow yourself to be open as to how you can help them. Allow yourself to be intuitively guided as to how you can help them, whether that be, changing their diet, getting some supplements, but ultimately loving them and holding space for them will always, always, always help. Holding positive intentions that they will, that you are supporting them in their purpose work. Try not to want to take it away from them. Try not to want to take their purpose work away from them, but rather support them to go through their purpose work. We've all done it, right? We've all played the role of companion animals and close animals in other times, whether on this plane or another. This is a valid experience for evolving souls. So don't make it wrong, first and foremost. How am I going? So Sharma asked to have some clearing for her dog's health, and also for Carol's dog. We are holding energy, and we're definitely holding energy for Sharma's dog. I don't want to open a whole thing here where I, open a whole entourage of holding space for everyone's dog. But why don't we just make a blanket intent to support everyone's companions. Christina wrote, oh, with you both ladies, my cat has inflammation in his mouth. He has have 3 teeth pulled out. And yes, it's been a lot of fear coming up and fatigue in general. I find myself being in another polarized situation similar to the past. I'm learning how to let my heart and love take control instead of my mind and logistics for now. What's your thoughts, Matt? Yes, so polarity is very, very, very much up for clearing right now. I've noticed, I've had conversations with other people. I had a conversation actually in our Bright Light Client attraction process Q&A. I think it was just on Monday, right? So on the last call that I did a couple of days ago, at the start of that call, Christina, and I know Christine is a member of that community, so I did talk about the fact that polarity right now is one of the vibrations that's very much up to clear. So a lot of people are having this mental gymnastics going on with polarities. A lot of people who are more aware are recognizing that they have these polarities dancing in their head, and they're getting more and more obvious. And it's a little, maybe not concerning is the right word, but it's interesting, definitely, that many of us are noticing that we're seeing both sides of these debates very, very clearly, and there's a big space in the middle that's kind of neutral and empty, right? Because there's not many people, there's not much energy in neutrality at the moment. Most energy has been drawn out to either side. Either you're with us or you're against us. There's no middle ground here. There's no neutrality. You know, Switzerland's been wiped off the face of the map. No, I'm joking. Switzerland is still there, but you know what I mean, right? Geneva's gone in many sectors of society right now. It's this A or B, and there's a fight between the two. I believe this intensification and the obviousness of how this is playing out with all forms of debate right now, that it has become so polarized, is an energy unto its own that is coming up to clear right now. So the fact that you're seeing it in terms of old energies that you'd kind of hoped you'd got over, Christina, is not surprising. And I wouldn't encourage you to feel that you've sunk back into that at all. You are getting the option to stay more heart-based, definitely, and to operate from that basis of love, while still seeing, you know, the energies of the past, you know, this polarity in your workspace and in your desire to facilitate, you know, harmonious workspaces and empowered growth for individuals looking to be the best selves, via, you know, their working conditions. So allow yourself to be in that neutrality while witnessing the polarity. Choose not to fight polarity from a polarized space, right? Because fighting polarity doesn't work, of course, because it's polarizing. So we're here to find acceptance, and I believe you're doing really, really well. Those are my thoughts. So this is a great sign that this has come up again and giving you the opportunity to really dance with this in a more empowered way than perhaps you managed to do last time. And so the opportunity is there in this challenge for you to really embrace your desire to help people see past the polarity, and while still recognizing that we can't control people. We don't get to choose whether they overcome polarity or not. We just get to hold space for them and illustrate or exemplify what neutrality is. You know, we get to be the example. Jane, this has been so helpful for me at this time as we received a cat into our household over Easter. Her presence is so, I think it's going to say calming, but I'm guessing. Presence is so calming, though she doesn't love to be picked up or cuddled yet. So give her time, Jane. Give her time to relax into the household, and don't let go of the want to cuddle her, and just hold the space open for her to come for affection when she's ready for that. Because it will take some time. The secret to moving forward is to let go of wanting and needing, right? And to just be very accepting. That's in general, not just in this situation with Jane and the new cat in the house. In general, we move forward best when we let go of wanting things to be a certain way. And so just love and appreciate her. Was it her, wasn't it? Yes. So just love and appreciate her for what she's bringing and the calming presence and her energy, and at the same, so appreciate that and be appreciative of her, and then just, hold your space open in a loving way, not needing anything from her, but being open to allowing contact as it's appreciated by her, or as it is deemed fit by her. Because one thing we know is we don't get to control cats. Dogs are much more compliant. Dogs are much more, they have different desire levels, and they do get a huge egoic hit of satisfaction for being appreciated, where cats are far more aloof, as we know. So, but both, not rightly or wrongly, they are what they are. We don't compare apples and oranges. We make juice out of oranges, and we make crumble with apples. There's ways to enjoy both, and that's and that's the point. Anywho's. Anything more, my friends? Anything more? Let me just click down here and see if I've missed. Jackie wrote, we use colloidal silver spray on the gums. We do this with my dogs when they get inflamed. Yeah, so that was for Christina with her cat who's having problems with the mouth. Definitely, colloidal silver is very good. Animals respond really, really well to homeopathics. Animals respond really, really well to alternate treatments in general. So don't be afraid to use things like colloidal silver, which is borderline, in my opinion, alternate, because it's you know, it wasn't that long ago that it was mainstream. It's just hard for pharmaceutical companies to make any money on it, so it's it's been poo-pooed a little bit. But you know, anywho, colloidal silver has a huge amount of science behind it, is what I'm trying to say. It's not nearly as woo-woo as some other treatments. So yeah, very, very powerful stuff, and very, very, very good at dealing with any sort of infection. Silver is a very, powerful agent. So that might be it, my friends. I might call it quits here. Oh, I had a thought in the night, as you do, that I was just thinking back about the meditation that I delivered yesterday to the ManTarA Transformation Empowerment Support Community around the empowered transformation process, transforming in an empowered way. And I think I might offer it here in this group as well for free. So look out for that. It won't happen it'll be a couple of hours away because I've got a few calls backing up here. But just look out for that coming in this thread. I'll put it out in an email as well. I'll put it out in the email that I send the Chat with Matt replay in, but that's my intent. So just felt after delivering it that it was a really good meditation. It has light language in it as well. It's like a 30-minute light language call. I do them every week and part of the ManTarA Transformation Empowerment Support Community. If you're interested in joining that group, it is only $1 for the first month, and then it's 33 New Zealand dollars, which is, I think it's still under 25 US, probably about 23, 20, I don't know, something. I'm not exactly up on the exchange rate as of this date, but it's, under 25 US dollars per month, and you get an incredible amount of benefit from being a member of that community. So I'll post the link to that along with the with this week's meditation from that group. I think that's all. Got a full moon call coming up. I believe it will be next week. Maybe I'll quickly have a look at that. I will post some details about that soon. Okay, it's telling me my next thing's about to start. Full moon call, super full moon on Tuesday the 27th here in New Zealand, which will be Monday the 26th in other parts of the world. It happens at 3:30 my time, so it'll be a bit late in the day, but it'll be very early in the morning for the UK. In the Americas, it will be like 8:30 Pacific time. So what's that, 11:30 p.m.? We'll start the call earlier than that, though, an hour earlier than that. That's the actual time of the full moon. So it'll be later in the evening, Monday or Tuesday, midday for Australia, and early afternoon for New Zealand. So that's coming up. I have got a topic for that, but I've forgotten it. I looked up the astrology the other day, but I've forgotten it. I wrote it down. Anywho, my friends, that will do for now. Much, much love. I will get off this and I will speak to you soon. I'll send an email out for those of you. If you're not on my email list, that's a good thing to do. Just go to mantara.nz, join that, and you'll get a free gift of stepping into your personal power, a very powerful light language facilitation. That's always a good way that I can, better keep in touch with you. I don't send a whole heap of emails out, but every now and again I do, and it's usually quite often got something for free in it. So if you're into that, join up there. Okay, my friends, bye for now. Finish button's not working.